Welcome back to Godot Dev Checkpoint. I'm Spaghetti Syntax. Usually, when we make a game, we build a world inside a window. But today, we are deleting that window entirely. Now, in this series, we're going to build a desktop pet using Godot 4.5. It's like a character that lives on your actual monitor, walks on your real taskbar, and hangs out while you work. Now, in part 1, we're going to tackle the setup. I'm going to show you the specific hidden settings you need to change to make your game transparent, and the one trap setting that ruins this project for almost everyone. Let's get started. Now I'm here in a new project, blank, just called it Desktop Pets. Everything's default right now, but before we write any code, we have to change the settings. Now if we miss these, the code won't work at all. So we need to go to the project settings, and then we need to toggle advanced settings to on if yours is off. Make sure that's on. Then we want to go to display, window, and then the viewport width and height. We want to set that to the width and height of the sprite you intend to use that has a walk and an idle animation. So for whatever sprite, if you want to go pick it now, go ahead. If you want to set it to default, like say 150 for now, that'll work. Then you can just use the Godot icon head as a placeholder. Now for my specific one, the size of it is 203 and 161. You can always come back here and change it when you figure out which one you want to use, if you don't have one yet. Now after that, we need to verify resizable is on. Now, if it's off, Windows is going to force a border even if we ask it not to. We're going to change that in code later, which will fix it, as in the code will work better than the editor will do. Less buggy. And we also need to set transparent to on. Now this tells Windows I can be see-through. And from here we need to scroll down. And on sub windows, embed sub windows, we can turn that off. We don't need that right now. And from here, we're going to scroll down to something called per pixel transparency. We want this to be allowed. So let's turn that on. And that will trigger a editor restart when we want it to. We're going to change a couple more settings first. Now what this does, it tells Godot to render the see-through bits, so we can actually see them, and they're not transparent. So in the left-hand window here, we're going to scroll down to rendering. We're going to find viewport here, and we're going to turn transparent background to on. Now this removes the default gray skybox. It'll make it so our character is a no background and not a black bordered background. Now there's some gotcha traps that I found as I was building this initially. One we're going to look at in the project settings still. If you scroll back up to window here, you want to make sure this no focus here, make sure that is off. Now, if it's on, Windows is going to treat the app like a screensaver and it's going to block all our mouse clicks so we won't be able to interact with it. So make sure that is off. Now before we look at the next one, let's go ahead and save and restart the editor. Now after your editor is restarted, what we're going to do is look up here at the game tab. Go ahead and click into that. Now there's these three little dots. We want to click on those embedding options. And we want to get rid of embed game on next play. Now this was a big reason why the thing I was building before was failing. Could not figure it out. It took a long time, but now that I know, you know. So unclick this. Make sure it's off. Make sure embedding is disabled. Now, if it's on, Godot is going to force your app into a dock, and none of the window code we're going to write is going to work. So let's make sure that's off. Once again, it's in the game window, the three little dots, off. All right, now with all those settings complete, hopefully, now we're going to create a scene, but we just need something to render. We're not going to build a full game world. We're just a single container for our pet. So we're going to click 2D scene. And then our node 2D, we're going to rename that to main. And we're going to use a standard node 2D because we need access to 2D coordinates, the position. But we don't need physics bodies, not yet. Now we're going to right click on the main node and add a child node. And we want an animated sprite 2D. And create that. Now we use an animated sprite 2D instead of a regular sprite because a static pet is a boring pet. So we want him to walk around. That's what we're going to use today. Now this is where we need to drag a sprite sheet into the file system. Now I'm going to right click on my root and create a new folder called sprites. Now I'm going to use a sprite sheet I got from Kenny's here. Kenny has a ton of free assets. The one I'm going to use is a 2D robot. It's this robot pack here. And I'm going to go and link it down below. Now I edited mine a little bit. Put a little Godot face on the front of him. But if you want to use this one, go ahead. It's free. And I recommend following Kenny and taking advantage of all the starter kits he has and support him if you can. Donate. It does a wonderful thing for the game dev community by providing free things. Massive tons of them. Now, if you never put a sprite sheet into Godot, all you do is you take the sprite sheet you have, drag it into your sprites folder with it selected, and it imports it automatically. Now, this is the one I'm going to be using. A little robot that has an idle and a roll. And I use the Godot head because, well, Godot. All right. Now we want to select our animated sprite 2D. And we're going to go in the inspector, animation. We want sprite frames, new sprite frames, first of all. Then we want to click sprite frames, and our animation frames window should pop up. And we want an idle, IDLE, spelled just like that. We'll need to know that later. And we want a, click this little plus icon to add an animation. We need a walk or a roll, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do roll. And then for now, we want our roll to be our autoplay. So let's set that to on. Now we want to add some frames to our idle and our roll. So we'll use add frames from sprite sheet right here. I'm going to go into our sprites folder, choose your sprite sheet, open, and you'll see we have some quadrants here we need to fix. So remember, mine was 203 and 161. So now all my windows are set. You'll see if I go under or go over, I'll start losing frames here. So I want to go back down. Now I have every frame, but I just want the roll frames, which I believe are this one and this one. So add these two frames, and we'll click play, and he's rolling. You can tell by the wheels and up and down. So the roll animation is set. Now I want to do the idle. Same process, click the idle, add frames from sprite sheet, click the robot roll. That was these two, so these two are my idle, 0 and 1. Click those and add 2 frames. Now I have my idle, which is just standing still. So that's good. We're good to go. And we're rolling. Now we need to set our animated sprite, this move mode. We need to set our animated sprite in these blue lines here. If your sprite is outside those lines, then it's outside the window and you won't see it when it's on the desktop. So you want to get this as centered as possible. Zoom in if you have to. Get that right on the blue line. That's as close as I can get. And that's about as I get. Good to go. Then we want to save the scene. So we're still unsaved. So scene, save scene. We're going to save it as main, but before we do that, I'm going to right click in here, new folder, scenes, main, save. Now we need a script. So we're going to click on main, click on attach new script. And we're going to save this in our scripts folder, not our scenes folder. So we need to click on our folder path, go up to our root. Now we need to make a new folder called scripts and save our main GD in there. Keep everything else default, create. All right, now with our main.gd script loaded, we are only going to write the ready function today. So we'll just delete this process one for now. Make sure to save often, so Control S, just in case, you never know. Now we set the settings in the menu, but we're also going to force them in the code too. Now this makes sure our specific window rules are going to apply instantly when the game starts. Now first off, let's get rid of this placeholder pass text. And if you didn't know, indentation is very important. So if we don't have this little indent mark, then you need to make sure you are indenting properly. By default, Godot uses tabs. So always use tabs and always press enter when you go to a new line. Now we need to get access to the actual operating system window, not just the game code or the game node, what I meant. And how we do that is create a var window. And we need to simply get the window. And then after that, we need to set up the first thing we need to set up is the transparency. If I can spell transparency. Setup. Now we're going to enable transparency for both the Godot viewport and the operating system window. Okay, and how we do that, we're going to get the viewport first. So get viewport. And then we want the transparent, yes, transparent background to be true, right? And the window, we also want be transparent. So that's equals true as well. The next thing we do is the shape. So second thing, be the window shape. Now we want to remove the borders so it looks like the character is floating. Yeah. So we want the window to be borderless. Window.borderless. We want that to be true. The next we want is to keep them above everything. So keep him above, or keep the sprite above your everything, really. Web browser, other apps, that kind of stuff. So you want the window to always be on top. So always on top to equal true. So once again, we're just forcing these settings in the code to make sure our specific window rules are going to apply when the game starts. So now Windows can get picky a little bit. So we left our resizable setting on in the settings. But we're going to force it off here. Why? Well, if a window is unresizable, then Windows forces a border. But by saying sure, resize me, Windows is going to relax and lets us be borderless through code. So this will make it a lot more efficient. So we want the force Windows to relax and let us be borderless. So we want to make our window unresizable to be false. So now we're going to make Windows know that this window is unresizable. So we won't worry about our border. Now it does sound backwards, but we want a fixed size. And we don't want that to change. So that's just how the operating system is going to work. And this works. So this is the way we're going to do it. So let's go ahead and save this script. And then we're going to run the game. Now we should see our character floating on the actual desktop. Let's check it out. Now we also need to set a main scene. So if you haven't done that either, go ahead and just select this current scene. And look, we have a sprite on the screen. Oh, you'll notice a black box. Well, if we're noticing this black box, sometimes we can fix this with changing our forward plus. So let's change this forward plus to compatibility. If you don't have the black box, then you're fine. Let's change this to compatibility mode and save and restart our engine. As far as I know, sometimes that happens when our video cards have an issue with rendering. So let's try again, play. And this time we have no black box. So we just have a character floating on the desktop. And just like that, he's out of the box. Now we have a borderless sprite floating in the void of your desktop. But right now he's stuck. He doesn't know where the floor is, so he just floats there. Now in the next video, we're going to give him a brain. Now, I'm going to teach you how to use the display server to detect your actual Windows taskbar, and we're going to make him walk back and forth across the screen. If you found this helpful at all, or fun, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It really helps out the channel. And thank you to all our current and past Patreon and Ko-fi members. Your support really means the world. And if you want early access to tutorials, source code, or suggesting future tutorials, please consider becoming a member yourself. The links are in the description. And remember, finished, not perfect. You'll learn more from failing than any success, so fail fast, fail often, and always stay curious. I'm Spaghetti Syntax, and I'll see you in the next one.